Now that we have defined accrual for this particular leave type, let's discuss about the reset option. So you can enable reset, and I have defined reset as yearly last day of December. So reset has to be defined based on the accrual you have set. Like in this example, leave is getting credited on the month of January. So reset happens in the month of December. However, if leaves are getting credited in the month of April, then you will have to reset the number of leaves by the end of March. So once reset is enabled, there are three possible outcomes once you define reset. First option is carry forwarding the unused leave balance to the next year. Next option is to encash the unused leaves. And the third option is you're not defining carry forward and encashment, which means that all the remaining leave balance are lapsed. If you wish to carry forward the leaves, enable the option, and then you can define carry forward in terms of units or percentage. Let's go with the first option, defining carry forward with units. So carry forward is set to 5 units. So what happens is any employee leave balance which is less than or equal to 5 will be carried forward to next year. Leave balance greater than 5 will be lapsed. For example, if an employee has a remaining leave balance of 7 days, 5 days will be carried forward to next year, the remaining 2 days will be lapsed. So this is how unit works. Instead of units, you have this policy in your organization. That is, an employee can carry forward 50% of leaves to next year. In this scenario, you cannot mention a fixed unit because every employee will have a different leave balance at the end of the year. In such scenario, instead of units, you can go with the option percent. So I can mention 50% here. So what happens is, if an employee has a remaining leave balance of 10 days, the employee will be carry forwarding 5 days to the next year. So when you're adding percent, you can see one more option which is called maximum limit. So I'm defining the maximum limit to be 15 days. It means that an employee can carry forward 50% of leaves to next year only up to 50 days. So once they have reached the maximum limit, they cannot carry forward no more leaves to the next year. Instead of carry forward, you can also go with one more option which is called encashment. So you can say encash unused leaves. So again, in terms of encashment, you can either go with the option unit or you can go with the option percent. So if I say unit, I can mention 5 units, or I can go with the option called percentage. So again, when you set percentage, you can also set up a maximum limit. So this is another possibility. What if you are defining both carry forward and encashment? In case of both carry forward and encashment is set, carry forward will always take precedence and only then encashment happens. So after you set carry forward and encashment, your leave policy is defined. So accrual is set, which helps you to understand when and how many number of days are added. And when it comes to reset, you are defining what should happen to the remaining leave balance at the end of the year. We can also discuss few advanced options that we have related to this entitlement setup. Click on advanced options. The first option that we see here is add opening balance. So I add 10 days of opening balance. So what happens is, the moment the employee becomes eligible to this leave type, that is based on effective after, system will credit leaves based on their date of joining, based on the prorate accrual that we are setting. In addition to this prorate accrual balance, system will automatically credit the opening balance to the employee. That is, we'll take this example. 1st of February is the date of joining of an employee. So, based on the leave policy set, 11 days will be credited to the employee's leave balance. In addition to this 11 days, opening balance will also get added. That is 11 plus 10. So that is the functionality of adding opening balance. And then we have the next option, set maximum balance. So we'll add maximum balance to be 50 days. So when you are defining maximum balance, what happens is, every time system credits the leave balance to an employee, it will first check what is the current balance. So only if the current balance is less than the maximum balance defined, accrual will happen. So if the current balance is already equal to the maximum balance that you are defining, then system will skip accrual for the current accrual period. And then we have the option called deductible holidays. So when you're adding deductible holidays, we have two different options here. All holidays, holidays on work days. How this option works is, you are defining the public holiday list in the leave tracker module. Let's say there are totally 10 public holidays for the current year. And the leave policy is set in a way an employee will be getting 12 days every year. So when you add deductible holidays and use the option called all holidays, then before crediting this 12 days to the employee, system will first check the number of public holidays the employee is applicable to. In this case, the employee is applicable to 10 public holidays. So the number of days that will get credited to an employee is accrual days minus public holidays, that is 12 minus 10. Only remaining 2 days will be added to employee's leave balance. So this is how deductible holidays work. When you're deducting the public holiday from the accrual leave balance, you can use this option, whether you're going to deduct all the holidays or only holiday that comes on working days. And the last option under advanced option is credit in next accrual. So when you enable this option, credit in next accrual, the employee will not be getting leave balance for the current year. So if you are joining in the year 2024, you will be getting leave balance only on 2025. So you will have to work for the current year, and this year's balance will be credited to you in the upcoming year. So these are all the few advanced options related to setting up entitlement. So we have created this leave type using this option, experience-based entitlement, which means that you can add few more levels to the same leave policy, and you can change the accrual based on experience of an employee. So let's say the first policy is for freshers, 0 years after date of joining. So when you join the organization, you start getting 12 days of earned leave every year. But after completing 1 year with the organization, employees will start getting 15 days of earned leave every year. In this scenario, you can use this option called add new level. So click on add new level. You can add 1 year from date of joining, and you can mention the accrual as 15 days every year. And you can also add few more levels here. So if the leave credit is going to change based on experience of an employee, you can use this option called add new level. So once this is done, you have successfully set up entitlement for this particular leave. So now that the entitlement is set, what will be the next step? Defining the applicable criteria. Who are all the employees who are applicable to this specific leave type? So you can click on next. You will be redirected to the next condition, that is applicability. So under applicable to, you can click on add criteria. You do have multiple options to choose from. So few are system options like gender, marital status, departments, designation, location. These are all system defined options. In addition to it, whenever you're creating a drop-down option in your employee form, you can use the drop-down option to be defined as an applicable condition when you're creating a leave type. So we can say this is applicable only to this particular location. Let's say UK. So only employees who are mapped to the location UK will have access to this particular leave type. You can also include multiple criteria here. So after adding location, I can click on add criteria and I can say employment type as permanent. So this works based on the logic and, which means the employee has to be mapped to the location called UK and the employee has to be mapped with the employment type called permanent. Only if these two criteria are met, the employee is applicable to this leave type called earned leave. Or in case if this leave policy is applicable to everyone in your organization, you can go with this option called all employees. So this is one way of defining the applicability criteria, where you define to whom this leave policy is applicable to. There is another way on how you can do it. So I completely remove everything available under applicable to. Now we have exceptions. I can click on add exception and I can say, again I'm selecting employment type, notice period. So by defining the exception as notice period as the employment type, any employee who is not mapped to the employment type called notice period will be applicable to this leave type. So you can either go with the option applicable to, or you can go with the option exception. So once applicability is set, the next step what we have is called restrictions in the system. So after setting up applicability, click on next. So there are different restrictions that you can have specific to leave types. So the restrictions that we are discussing here is specific to the leave type that you are creating, and these are all not general restrictions. The first restriction that we have here is called exceeded leaves. So what should happen if an employee does not have sufficient leave balance when applying for leave? For example, an employee has a leave balance of 1 day, but employee is trying to apply leave for 2 days. What should be the system's response in this condition? So there are two ways to address this scenario. One is you can say do not allow. So you're not enabling the option where system allows an employee to take leave more than what they have. The next option is you can enable the option over here which says an employee can take more number of leaves based on what they have. So first option is without limit. I can take any number of leaves without any limit. Even though I'm entitled to 12 days, I can still take 24 days in a year without any consequence. The next option is mark as LOP. I can take excess leaves, but the excess leaves will be considered as loss of pay in the system. I am entitled to 12 days of earned leave. I can still take 24 days. However, the excess 12 days will be considered as loss of pay in the system. This is one way to address this condition. The next option is called until year-end limit. This option will be very helpful if you are crediting leaves in terms of months. So let's take you're adding earned leaves every month, 1 day. So what happens is we are now in the month of July. So considering the fact the employee has not used any of the leaves, the leave balance will be 7. But the employee wants to take 8 days of earned leave. When you use this option called until year-end limit, the employee can still take 8 days of leave, which is the employee is borrowing 1 day of leave from the next month. However, the employee cannot use more than 12 days. So this is about the option until year-end limit. And next you have an option to define the sandwich leave policy. So sandwich leave policy is nothing but if an employee is taking leave for more than 1 day, and if there are any weekends or holidays that comes in between the leave period, you can also consider it as leave. You can enable the option and you can mention whether you are going to include weekends or holidays that comes in between the leave period. And then we have the clubbing policy. So this is earned leave, what we are configuring. And you don't want your employees to club earned leaves with casual leaves. That is, I cannot take earned leaves and casual leaves subsequently. So here I can say this leave cannot be taken along with casual leave. You can also include multiple leave policies under this section. And then we have settings related to reports. So allow employees to view. So in the employee page, they have the leave summary section where they'll be able to see all the leave types that they are applicable to. So let's have a quick look at the employee page. So we go to leave tracker module. So under leave summary, these are all the leave types that I am applicable to. So here we see a bifurcation, available leaves and booked leaves. So the display that we see here is based on the configuration that we do here. So the first option that we see here is called leave taken alone. When you go with this option leave taken alone, employee will only see the option called booked. They will not see the available balance in their leave summary page. Then there is the next option which is called simple leave summary. So when you go with this option called simple leave summary, the employee will see both available and booked leaves. However, if an employee has booked leave for a future date, it will not be available here. So let's take the booked number of leaves for casual leave is 2. If this employee has booked leave for the month of December, it will not be listed here. So that is about the option simple leave summary. And then we have complete leave summary. So when you go with the option complete leave summary, under booked, you will be able to see future dated leaves. So when you click on this eye icon, used leaves and planned leaves. So there will be a bifurcation available in the system. So this is about the report configuration. And then we have settings related to file upload. So in case if you're creating a sick leave policy and you want your employees to upload a supportive document if their sick leave is exceeding more than 3 days. In such condition, you can enable this option. Upload supportive documents. If the applied leave period exceeds, you can mention the number of days. You can also use this option for other leave types as well. And then we have the record level restrictions. So whether an employee can avail earned leaves for full day, half day, or is it only for quarter day? And then it is about whether an employee can take leave or apply leave for a past date and a future date. So if you don't want your employees to apply leave for a past date, you can completely disable this option, or you can keep it enabled, and you can include one more condition here, which is nothing but an employee can apply leave only for past 30 days and not beyond that. In the same way, you do have conditions related to future dates. So you can disable this option if you don't want your employees to apply leave for future dates, or you can enable it, and then you can include 2 more conditions. That is, an employee can apply leave only for next 90 days. They can plan leaves only up to next 90 days and not more than that. The other condition that you can add is to be applied in advance. You want your employees to apply earned leave 10 days in advance. So I'll mention 10, which means that if an employee wants earned leave on 1st of August, they will have to apply leave on or before 1st of August. So these are all the conditions related to applying leave for a past date or future date. And then we have this option called allow only administrators to view and apply this leave on employee's behalf. So you can create a leave type, you can enable this option. What happens is, even though the employee is applicable to this leave type, they will not see the option called earned leave in their leave summary. So if they want to apply for earned leave, they will have to reach out to the admin, and admin can apply leave on employee's behalf. So if you have such leave types, you can enable this option. And then we have conditions related to maximum and minimum number of days an employee can request per leave application. So if you want to include these conditions, you can enable the option and you can mention the number of days. And the third condition that we see here is called maximum number of consecutive days of leaves allowed. You don't want your employees to take more than 5 days of continuous leaves. If that is the case, you can enable this option. You can mark it as 5. And next is about cooling off period. So I say that minimum gap between 2 leave requests should be 10 days. So if I have submitted an earned leave application on 1st of August, I will be able to submit another earned leave application only at 10th of August. So that is about the minimum gap between leave requests. And the next condition is about maximum number of requests allowed within a specific period. So when it comes to earned leave, you want your employees to avail earned leave only twice a year and not more than that. Even though they have remaining leave balance available, system should not allow them to submit more than 2 leave applications for earned leave. If that is a condition, you can say 2 per year. You do have other options that you can choose from. So the last restriction that you can have is called this leave can be applied only on. So I'll select birth date here and I'll give you an example. There is a leave policy called birthday leave in your organization. So every year you will be crediting 1 day of birthday leave to all of your employees. And you want your employees to use this 1 day particularly on their birth date and not on any other random day. For example, an employee's birthday falls on 1st of May. So the employee should use this leave only on 1st of May, not on any other dates. If that is the condition, you can use the option this leave can be applied only on birth date. So all the date fields that are available in the employee form will be listed here, and you can use any of the date field to add it as a criteria. So once you're done with all the restrictions, you can click on add. So every time you create a new leave policy in the system, you will be defining the basic details section and then the entitlement applicability and restrictions. So once everything is set, you can click on add. So you are going to repeat this process to add other leave types in the system. So this is about creating leave types in Zoho Paper.